me. There was more geared to that. Yeah, there was also more hair. Just to give anybody a little rundown on my intended or proposed game, as it stands right now, first and foremost, I really want to have open applications for mod staff. I really want to see new people get into this, as Bauman posted in the discussion thread. He's really afraid of seeing the game sort of stagnate because you just see the same sort of dynasty continue to run the game semester in and semester out. And not only that, just scooping up your friends leads to a lot of groupthink, which leads to a lot of, well, gee, I didn't see that coming out of left field. Well, that completely ruined everything about my game. What do I do now? And nobody really likes seeing an administration come through that 11th hour process. Furthermore, something that we've seen variously across different games and seen it attemptedly represented is sort of this war of attrition style feeling. Not the dawn of the zombie apocalypse, not post-apocalyptia, in the thick of it, in the heavy of it, and to really get that idea of every day is a struggle and not just slogging around after the world's already bombed out. I think that's just about all of it in a nutshell. So I'll open the floor to questions. Rita.
Now your open mod
Yeah.
thing that you say, are those going to be applications to you personally or on the website?
That's going to be, I'd like to, if elected, start a thread where people can post an application. But that said, for those who weren't a part of the process, this past semester we did take applications for staff again. And we had all 4 or 5 of us, however many of us could make it to a given interview, sit in a room and meet with the person. Now, for some people that's really intimidating, and while I can definitely get behind the fact that it's not going to be any less intimidating to have 200 players potentially very angry at you over something, I think that that's something that definitely, that's the administrator's job to bear, not the moderator's job to bear. And so with that in mind, I do want to hold applications and interviews in a one-on-one process, knowing that some people definitely do better in that sort of a dynamic. Lemmy, I think you had your hand up first. Okay, Dave?
Actually, Alex had his up.
Okay, Alex.
Actually, but there's the pro-human, pro-zombie scale.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you throw yourself upon that, and how do you think it would affect your game?
I am impossibly pro-human and pro-zombie. To go and say that you're only gonna play one half or the other, I think personally kind of locks you out of half of the fun of the game. That's like playing any number of video games and saying, no, I only play one character. Well, there might be 100 characters. Why do you only play one? Well, I only play one. I don't want to try the others. And so with that in mind, I do want to really flesh out and create a deep, playable, interactive, experienceable game for both sides, where it's not just night after night, oh, zombies go out and kill humans, or oh, humans run around and kill zombies. I don't want it to just degrade into night after night after night of training missions for a week. So now back up to Dave.
You've been a moderator for 2 semesters now, and both of those semesters, one you were, this is a similar question to what I asked Robert, but one you were in a more revolutionary style game, and one you were more in a traditional style game. What can we expect out of you?
I'm looking sort of to split the bill on that, if you will. There were a couple revolutionary concepts, if you will, from my first time moderating, which was on Mr. Evans' staff, which didn't quite work out the way we hoped, or work out as they could have on paper. And so, you know, in some regards, has that maybe made me a little timid? Yeah, that's possible. But at the same time, I still think that it's possible to take smart risks on behalf of the player base to try to give them something new and fun and dynamic to play with. At the same time, though, we saw some of the risks, if you will, going back to a traditional game for a lot of students who hadn't played a traditional game, and some of the risks taken by this administration, namely like no meta and the horror film club, as opposed to emails being sent through Ball State Humans versus Zombies. There was some criticism over that, and so I'd like to move forward with that in mind, but at the same time, I don't want to neglect the experience of going into a spring semester and having a more experienced player base to work with in that regard. So now over back to Mr. Saylor.
I have a rather large two-part question that I would like a pretty decent answer to on both of these.
Go for it.
One, you started off by saying that you think that it's a bad thing to kind of have a dynasty, kind of keep bringing in new people, yet you've been moderating for 4 semesters now?
2 semesters.
Or 2 semesters, 4 games?
2 games.
2 games. Oh, sorry.
Ryan? Brian?
Bad math. That's a year out of touch with playing.
Yeah.
So my first question is, how do you avoid feeling like a dynasty having been a part of the last 2 games? And the second part would be, how do you feel like you can judge balance in terms of what the player can see?
First things first, with regard to a dynastic sort of mindset, we saw that Ryan and Brian's games were both very radically different from each other, with Brian seeking to return to that traditional avenue, and Ryan looking for something very radically non-traditional. And so I think that my influence and experience with both of those allows me to go and to create something new and dynamic from both of them, and to get away from what I think I'm afraid of with a dynasty sort of feeling, and what I at least think the heart of Brian's post about it is getting away from having the game stagnate by having the same sort of mind run it every single time. And the second thing to that extent, regarding am I out of touch with the player base, I really have made it a point to come out to every single training mission available to me, and to make myself available and known, and to experience you guys, the community. It's not about the administration or the moderation. It's definitely about the players. And with that in mind, I mean, come out to invitationals, come out to everything I can for the community, and to be in touch with people on a personal level in that regard. Did that?
I wasn't actually speaking about your relationship with
Uh-huh.
teammates. I was speaking more along the relationship of balancing mechanics.
Yeah. And again, with regard to previous moderated experience, both between Ryan's game and between Brian's game, we saw 2 very different attempted interpretations of balance. Some missions or some mechanics better executed or better received by players than others, and so I think that breadth of experience there and that diversity across 2 different staffs has allowed me to still keep in touch really with what balance still is, and to see how people respond under very radically different situations, not only from one another, but from the previous game or from even training mission type scenarios. Is that okay? Greg, I think. Okay, Mariah.
What are you looking for in a mod staff?
What I'm looking for in a mod staff, while everyone may or may not have known, Brian definitely looks for a mod staff with administrators, and there's a very lengthy conversation that can be had about that. I'm just looking for a mod staff of moderators who are willing or even potentially seeking to have the exposure